February 27th, 2010 was the last day of the summer holidays in Chile. But at 3:34 in the morning, an 8.8 Richter scale earthquake and tsunami hit the country. The earthquake triggered a social time bomb. Massive lootings and sackings of stores added huge social tension and a sense of insecurity to the collective fear of aftershocks and more waves. Elementale began to work right away, delivering solutions at different timescales. On day one, it was crucial to develop a more efficient system for water distribution. On day two, the task shifted to deliver appropriate emergency shelters. We designed a 30 square meter insulated shelter with a set of panels that could be reused in the final housing solution. On day 30, we were called by forest company Arauco to get involved in Constitución, a 50,000 people city that was almost entirely destroyed. When people came down from the hills, they found that almost 80% of the city was destroyed. There was no idea of how or where to start with the reconstruction. By day 40, an open house, a physical space in the main square of the city for deliberations about the reconstruction to be conducted in the most public and civic way, was already built.
Específicamente yo como pescador tengo 25 pescadores. ¿Dónde lo voy a llevarlo yo? ¿Al bosque?
We understood that for the people, even more disturbing than a potential future tsunami was the flooding that every single winter they had to suffer because of an inadequate city's drainage system. They also complained about the lack of public space, the traffic jams due to a narrow street grid, the disconnection between the city and the river, and many more. Our proposal was to have a forest to protect the city against future tsunamis. But besides being an efficient mitigation device, it solved the problem of the flooding by laminating the rainwater. It also solved the historical debt in terms of public space, increasing it from 2 square meters to 7 square meters per inhabitant, providing democratic access to the river. We applied our 10 years accumulated experience in social housing. For example, instead of doing the conventional 40 square meter small house, we proposed that 40 square meters had to be seen as half of a good house, allowing people to complete them over time. This way, emergency shelter panels could be included in the units, allowing people to achieve a middle income standard rather quickly and at a low cost. Given the scale of the operation, the scarcity of resources and mainly the lack of time, on day 70, we asked the community to define the priority of problems to be addressed. In an exemplary civic act, 5,000 people went to the voting chambers and determined the buildings that had to be rebuilt first. 94% of the population was in favor of the expropriations to create a mitigation forest. Even the fishermen agreed to be expropriated. On day 100, we submitted the proposal to the President of Chile. We are now around 800 days away from the earthquake. Some of the projects may never be executed the way we proposed them, but it is a fact that the city will move its gravity center from the grid of streets to the river, to a new public space that will repair the urban debt of the city, that will solve the historic problem of the flooding due to rain, and that will simultaneously protect the city against future natural threats, introducing for the first time in Chilean history a new anti-tsunami urban DNA.